greetings, Doctor. Yet another one, which is going to be quite different from the rest. So, we are almost at day 200, and we're just going to see what happens for these last 2 days, because there is quite a bit happening. We're gonna have a raid, and we're gonna have a few things to talk about. That's gonna be a nice opportunity to go through how we usually approach those challenges and see how it goes. Because it has gotten to the point where things are pretty mechanical, and I'm like, okay, this raid, I already know what I'm going to use, and that's going to be fine. Even if there are definitely things that can be improved, as always, but just to get a general idea of the mindset that goes behind it. So this boss, funny enough, is probably the one boss that I definitely need another tactic if I wanted to push more than 200 days. I do have one in mind, I'll do some tests, but for the time being, it's like, yeah, whatever. Reason being that Ulpianus exists, and Ulpianus is an absolutely stupidly broken character, but yeah, you'll see in action. So, no witty all shenanigan, even though there are bits, we are just going to showcase the probably the biggest MVP of this run, which is going to be Ascalon, a very balanced operator that has destroyed so many raids that it's very, 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 very silly by this point. We're gonna we're gonna bring Gladia Ulpianus. We're gonna bring Puzzle for the DP generation, and we're gonna bring Kirby and Ifrit just to speed things up. We're gonna bring Logos on skill 1 because I'm going to be lazy. We have the rest, that's pretty good. We can probably bring Anea. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. We'll get into this. So I'm gonna be using this video to also talk about a few things related to CC as a whole and how approach things, what I think the mode needs, because there are a few issues. I think there are a few issues with CC. Namely, I am day 200. So for the people who are not aware, there are apparently some people on the CN server who managed to reach day 2000. Um, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I honestly can't even imagine the kind of pain the people have been going through to like do this kind of thing, because day 2000 is it's a pretty long time. It's a pretty long time, and I can't imagine myself doing this with the kind of strategies I go for, so I'll need to think about some even more AFK situations when it's already very, very silly, and how the bosses already take such a long time to actually deal with. But you'll see for yourself, you'll see for yourself. Glad you're here just for the buffs. So this boss will, because he summons the slugs, we're just gonna wait a bit before placing Ascalon. And here we go. Ascalon is going to destroy every other enemy that comes after this, because she's a very balanced character. We do have to wait a bit for Ethan though, unless I just place, I can also place Ethan like this, doesn't matter. So we're just gonna give you a few shields. Okay. Oops. We're gonna have an Ifrit. Here we go. Getting booze. Activate Ethan, and yeah. So everything that comes here will be dealt with just Ethan and Ascalon, because you have just so much stalling power, and Ascalon with skill activated gets over 5000 attacks. She deals arts damage, which is the only realistic way to deal damage to enemies at this point, because yeah, even basic enemies start having like 4000 defense, which is pretty silly. So it's one of those things with. Oh yeah, I'm gonna place you. It's one of those things with Reclamation Algorithm CC. At some points, all your physical damage dealers become entirely useless, but all the odds damage dealers, they don't care because the enemy's resistance, it never increases. So it's a big whatever, I guess. Just checking. Yeah, I'll press QB, but I will tell the boss is blocked. So this one, you can see, enemies have 5 times the HP, but Ascanon is still doing all the work, no problem. Very balanced, as all things should be. And now we're going to wait. So, a big issue with pushing days is that I'm bringing Ifrit and QB. Not because they are necessary, but because they speed things up. Because as you might notice, the boss is pretty tanky, and even though his defense scales day after day, and QB is still not doing that much damage if you're having a look. So it's one of those where like, okay, I guess that's what's needed if you don't want to spend an entire hour dealing with this kind of thing. Also, I kind of forgot to activate skills, but it's not going to matter because the damage over time and is there for a long time. So this is always what you're gonna have for all bosses is find a way to stall them and then yeah, just let your operators do the killing and go watch some movie or something and go watch the news. This is a true area experience. It's yeah, set up an AFK setup and go do something else. Go touch grass. That's what we have. So now it's going to take a bit of time. Let's talk about critical contention as a whole. Overall, while I had my fun getting to 200 days, I'm not gonna push any more than this. Not because I can't do this. Like, I know I can push some more, but I'm not that interested in because it it's always going to be the same strats. Every once in a while, you're gonna get a few raids combining together and resulting in something that's a bit more dangerous that requires you to think a bit more. But yeah, other than that, it's always going to be like, oh well, it's a Runebringer. Well, bring old pianist with Gladia and a healer and call it a day. If it's a Sail Raider, it's like it's use Chubai to permastall, then Ethan Ascalon to deal with the rest of the raid, and then Cube. Well, QB and Ifrit are for all bosses except the Sail Raider, who has very low defense. So that's what we have. So overall, if you do want to try those kind of things, I would say stick to like day 30 or something. Because by day 27, you will unlock all the possible debuffs. Because you get like new debuffs every 3 days after the start. And the final one you get is a -2 deployment limit. If you can like survive to 30 days, you can probably survive to like 50 or 60 days. After that point, you will probably get overwhelmed at some point by the enemy stats unless you really think through some of the particular tactics and how you approach the different raids. It's heavily going to be dependent on what operators you have, very obviously. But that's also where you can try to adapt and be like, okay, is there a way to actually stall the bosses in some other ways? And yeah, you do have Chubai, for example, but if you don't have Chubai, you can use QB as well, because QB skill 1, for example, also has a Permamind. I showcased at some point some videos where you can permastall a raid with like Black Knight. You also have another operator who can do basically the same thing with Glaucus. a blue slug. She's a 5-star, and yeah, she can in fact perma-stall on, well, almost perma-stall on an entire raid, because usually SP local will screw you over. But I didn't post it because it will have essentially been the same thing as a Black Knight situation. So there is this aspect of Reclamation Algorithm. I would also like to talk about the weather. No, no, not the real life weather, the weather as a whole in CC. So usually what happens, and we can see it if we zoom out, you have icons, and we are in the, I'm going to absolutely butcher the name, the Arakichtu jungle right here. And the weather we have is basically the monsoon version. It doesn't say here, but when you start CC, it's going to be randomized. So if you check the weather here, you're gonna see, oh, it's acid rain. Here it might be thunderburst. There might be a thunderstorm somewhere, probably. Yeah, thunderstorm here. So that's one thing that you want to check. It's important because it's randomized and then it never changes ever again after. Maybe you'd rather deal with this particular weather over the other one. The other alternative would be to have like wind that reduces attack speed by 50, and the rest is like increased redeployment. Personally, I feel this weather is the most annoying because of the thunder. Like the corrosion damage is not a big deal even on its own. Let me pick an example. This one's Thunderburst, Acid Rain. So Acid Rain, for example, if you get this, you don't care because the corrosion damage is never going to be enough to kill any of your operators unless it's a one-shot. So it's one where I go like, "Ah, okay, it's Acid Rain, I don't need to worry about it." If it's Thunder, just basic Thunder, Thunderburst, this one is fine because it's just one tile every 40 seconds. Like, it can kill your operators if you're very unlucky technically, but yeah, you do need to be very unlucky. But the combination of the two is definitely by far the worst. So it's one that you need to really look out for because it's the most painful. Here. Am I going to deal with this? No, I don't have Ethan, I don't have Escanon. I could permastall the boss with like a chew bite on this particular map. But frankly, it's going to be too much pain, so we're just going to skip the day. It's not the most efficient way of doing things. Technically, if you want to push things to their absolute limits, what you should be doing... Oh, another honorific. What you should be doing is like do things like Woods races to get some extra crude gold or something. But I am basically on my goal. I don't care at this point, and it takes so long anyway that it's not going to matter. So let's talk about planning a little bit, because that's an issue that keeps occurring all the time as you go through these runs. A lot of it is going to be planning and preparation. Preparation, you can see it with all the different icons here. What you want to do before you get into critical contention is make sure to build absolutely everything. So you can see with icons, it's zone upgrades. It's because I placed a bunch of fortifications in some specific locations so that I can intercept raids early. I can intercept raids basically everywhere, even in this absolutely horrible map. You do have some pathing that is possible to exploit a little bit, even if it's still going to be a terrible map. With the exception of that one, because that one is horrible. This is a worst map because you have two completely different lanes that you have to take care of, so I never intercept anything on this particular map unless there's like only the boss remaining because I cleared the entire rest of the raid, so that's the only exception. All the raids that will attack you will be in this general area. They will not come from anything beyond this to the north. So they stick to Gitmalatu Pass. Here they can spawn on the fortress in the middle, the text with a choice. And they can spawn pretty far here as well. But so you just need to put fortifications all the way here, and especially around your headquarters because that's where all the enemies will be. And when it comes to interception and planning, what happens sometimes is that you have raids. So for example, here, this one, 2 days until arrival and 2 days until arrival. Sometimes I'm going to take a look at raids and be like, okay, this raid might be synced with another raid that's like on one of these two tiles, one of these two nodes, I should say. And I'll be like, I can save a day by just waiting until they reach my headquarters. I'll just deal with both of them at the same time. So usually I'll just take a look and be like, okay, so for example, this one, yeah, I can deal with it with a bunch of ways. This, I just need a lot of AoE to deal with the Must Beast, and these, it's like, yeah, I can stall a bit, or just need a lot of arts damage. I don't need an Ethan and Ascalon combo, for example. I just intercept at the HQ because it's just simpler. So a lot of it is going to be, hey, what is the best location and what's the best time for me to deal with some of the particular raids so that I don't have to worry about anything. Like, this one is fairly obvious. We have a map that's absolutely horrible to deal with Al-Rafiq, and we have one in which we can cheese Al-Rafiq by throwing down a cliff. Like, you should be doing this one, which is what we're gonna do. So this one, what do we need? We want an Ascalon, an Ethan. There are going to be some damage reflect enemies, so we're gonna pick Nightingale on skill 2. We're gonna need a DP generator. We don't need that much, so I'm gonna pick this. And we're gonna need the good old Woody Oleia combo, and the rest is just going to be a bunch of defenders to blow the boss and save up on some reactive barriers. Yeah, no penance. Fristen's good enough. Do I have barriers? I have enough barriers. That's good. DP. Kill the stuff. Yeah, this is good. Let's go do it. So while we deal with Al-Rafiq, so we talked about planning. I didn't mention necessarily how set up this, so let's go into this a bit. This particular map, I set up the walls here to buy a bit of time, because you are gonna have, depending on the lane that they follow, for example, they still have checkpoints that they have to go through. So those on the left will have to go all the way to the bottom corner and then to the opposite corner right here. So that's why it's set up in this weird manner. Even though the obvious shortest path would be directly like somewhere around here. But we're not like, it's just a few extra shenanigans to buy some time. You do get minus 50% DP generation after all, as you progress throughout the days. So yeah, it's just one of those things we're like, okay, I guess I can do this. We can place Ascalon right away, we can place this. Nightingale is going to be there because there are going to be some with damage reflect enemies. We can have an Ethan. We activate this, and that's gonna be fine. We have Olayak, we're gonna place here. And we did. Boom. It's gonna take a bit for Rafik to come in, especially if I do this. Another big W for Ascalon being extreme balanced as usual. So there are damage reflect enemies in here, which are extremely difficult to see because of just how many of them are stacked. but they keep reflecting 200 odds damage every time. So Nightingale on her own is going to be good enough, and unless like you stack the entire freaking raid in that particular spot, it's gonna be enough. So not to worry here. It's gonna work. It's gonna work. Activate Escalon again. I just need to be focused for when Alrafic comes in because it is a bit tight in terms of timing. You do want to place the defender operators in the right time. Not going to which. I'm gonna remove one of you. Okay. No, if good. Actually, I should have done this. Okay, so the boss is coming. I'm gonna slow down, gonna place the cannon, and the moment the cannon shoots, we're going to activate the skill. We're gonna place... doesn't matter. Onchi. We leave the cannon here, we're gonna activate the skill once more. Place Friston. Retreat Ochiguma, and retreat the cannon to start the cooldown. Friston is not going to last very long. We'll place Zarya, that's okay. Activate skill. Activate skill. I just want to be done with this. Come on. Go. That's one. I realize I might have screwed up this. Never mind, it's good. Alright. Place you for the attack buff, and then we're gonna split the rest. So talking about reclamation algorithm, I did mention a few things about people who want to try it. Frankly, while you could use some of the tactics that I use to get all the rewards, because you only need to go to 18 days if you want to get to all the rewards, but that's definitely overkill. Now, not everyone will have Ascanon, obviously, but even if you have like Ulpianus with an Ifrit in the back, if you have a lot of AoE, like Wizardale at this point in time is really bad, but if you're just going for the rewards, frankly, that's okay. Like, you're gonna be set. Getting to 18 days, not too much trouble, but a big part of preparation is going to be setting a few fortifications. And frankly, if you just set up fortifications in the outpost already, you're pretty much set. You don't really need to worry about the rest so much. Talking about future plans for reclamation algorithm, for me personally, I think I will just end the run at 200 days. I'll literally end the run because I want to try other things. I don't want to be burned out too much by it, and I have a few plans for it. I figured, hey, well, that's nice to push my limits, but it is getting a bit boring. So what if we try a few other things? One thing I considered was like we could do like a lore curate version of Array, where basically we only pick the characters that appear in the story. And what characters do we have? Well, we have Eunictus, who is a pretty bad operator by my standards, that I've not built. I have Passenger, who is he's okay. Probably no, he definitely wants his module, but it's like it's fine. You got who is it? Is it Toye? The medic with a 5-star medic. You got Manticore, actually a decent unit, apart from the fact that she is outclassed by just Stephen. What else do we have? And we got Pepe. We got Pepe for the story, and we just got the event that released her. So that could be something cool to do. Is like, hey, what about what if you try to do array but low accurate? So you're only allowed to use these characters. That's probably be pretty painful, but that'd be fun to see. Another one I had in mind, because I made a bit of a troll video, and I will freely admit it, in how do you beat an entire raid with no operators? And well, you can choose it with just using life points, but then what if you push the idea a bit more and you like, hey, you do have some devices that deal damage to the enemies, and you also have some tools that allows you to like punch the enemies. So maybe some really silly challenge like, is it possible to get to like day 18 without deploying any operator? But you are allowed to have all the preparation in the world, but you can't deploy operators once you start the CC. So you need things like those jet throwers, for example, to delay enemies. You need where they are. They are in tools. You do have the necrosis transmitters for some AoE if you do manage to kill someone. You do have the oh hey yeah, that's true. I never used any of these because I took a look at the stats in the wiki. I never summoned any allied exotic beast to fight, so it could be something cool. It's like can use exotic beast to deal with raids. That could be something fun to try. And there are also these. I don't even know if you can deploy them on the ground, which is a fun thing. It's like, hey, you're going to do this raid, this run, you don't even know if that's going to work. It's like, nope. So that's something I'd like to try. Along with this, there are a few other plans I have that are not related to Reclamation Algorithm or CC as a whole. While I do a lot of IS, I felt there is a lot of content already around integrated strategies for people who are interested in it, but critical contention, definitely not so much, and even reclamation algorithm. Like, if you look up videos on YouTube, for example, most of what you see are videos from a year ago saying, oh, how reclamation algorithm is such a bad game mode. And it's because they are mostly talking about the first version, which was indeed extremely bad. Like, I have to agree, the first iteration of reclamation algorithm, it was just a no-go. Too many wrong things with it. Um, so we used a lot of strong operators here. I think I'm just gonna clear. I'm not gonna clear this one. So we're gonna bring puzzle. So when I see something like this, I'm like, okay, I need some AoE to clear with this, and I need a lot of hearts damage for those guys. So we're gonna bring Reed on skill 3 because she's going to blow up everyone. Logos, QB is good. We're gonna bring Ifrit. All the odds damage. We have our DP generation. I didn't check the weather. It's thunderstorm. That's really bad. But that's why we have the Omni Umbrella. So we want some medics. Even Lancet. Lancet. Robots are actually good. Well, Lancet specifically, along with Phono, are very good combined with this. And then that should be it. We can bring in Inez to slow down a bit. Where's Weedy? We can bring Glaucus. I praise Glaucus a little bit. Glaucus is actually better than Wizardel at these stages of the game, which is very funny. Yeah, let's go. Let's roll. So coming back to plans outside of array and critical contention, some of those would be centered around shifting because I do have Weedy, I do have Olayak, TP, thank you. And I've been playing around with operators a fair bit, but I really would like to play some more with like shifting operators as a whole. One possible issue is, was it a thunderstorm? It was probably a thunderstorm. Is that I don't really have I don't have Angelina, and Angelina is kinda, she's kinda core to this, which is a bit of a problem. Oops, please don't kill Ifrit. Please activate skill. Thank you. Activate this. I don't want you to die. I'm gonna place you there. Come on, puzzle. You don't want to walk over time? Well, it figures that playing and commenting at the same time is difficult. Dang. Alright. This. And this. Locust MVP. There we go. I also completely forgot about switching the Ifrit's module because she has the Delta module, which is actually not particularly recommended. It's like the other one is better. It's a bit of a mess, but it's like I'm not particularly focused, and that shows. No, Ifrit, no, we're gonna leak so many of these. Okay, kaboom. Oof, the frames. So yeah, as I was saying, I'm gonna be focusing a bit on trying to get shift operators, but I need Angelina because she has weightless and she has some funny shenanigans. I wouldn't mind getting something out when it comes to like dropping a bunch of bosses down holes for the fun of it. And here it is. This is day 199 and we're about to skip to the next day. If you take a look at survival node statistics and your stats, it's not synced. It says 198 days. And if I take a look at personal stats, what did it say? Oh, 198 days. It synced recently. Okay. Okay. And here we go. 200 days. That's a new record for global. Ah. I have to say, I'm a bit relieved that this is this is over. This is over for the time being, I should say. This is over for the time being. I guess I can show the base, even though you're probably gonna be like, wait, this base sucks. And you know what? You'd be right. This base absolutely and totally sucks. You're probably pretty confused taking a look at this. You're like, wait, so all you don't have a bunch of like, you know, devices to bind enemies or apply fragile or stuff. And it's like, no. This is all for production. I did have to rework all this to build them as close as possible, stack them as much as possible, but those large cores are taking so much space. These are only there for one reason. It's because I had large cores also deployed there in this entire area, but they got destroyed. I was like, I'm not gonna rebuild those, that's a waste of resources. And these are just there for the rocket launcher enemies, so that they don't blow up the rest. So yeah, this base is terrible. Like, it's something that you use only if you want to produce as many resources as possible. Nothing else. That's pretty much it. So yeah, I'll definitely be thinking about, are there some ways to work on it some more, but it's always going to be a problem because of long range enemies. So trying to set up everything is certainly going to be interesting. If I do come back to critical contention and go for like, okay, do we have some ways of just stalling the whole thing? Do I do it? Yeah, we're set. I'm done. If someone else wants to do it, go for it. I might come back to CC some of the time, but for the time being, it's like, oh yeah, whatever. I think I can show you the headquarters before it got blown up. So yeah, we had like got a few corals here, but that's pretty much it. Not much difference. It's just in this area near the bottom. Overall, reclamation algorithm, day pushing, critical contention, would not recommend. 5 out of 10. It gets too repetitive near the end, the bosses have too much HP, you always need Ifrit QB to speed things up. It's a pain, it's nice for the challenge, but you really don't want it. I guess I could make a tier list at some point of operators that are going to trivialize most of your CC experience, that could be a thing. But right now I want to chill. Right now I want to do some silly things. Alright. Well, that was the end of it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll probably see you in some later videos. Bye bye, doctors.